Welcome into this second MTG Insider call of the day. I just covered some of the MPL matches, and in the meantime, Magic Online went off of downtime so that it's now available. And the reason that it's important is that right now all the Kaldheim cards are uploaded on Magic Online. We cannot access them yet because there are no limited events and the booster's not for sale yet, so you literally can't get these cards. I guess you can open them in treasure chests. But they are legal and standard. You can put them in your decks. You just can't get them. So that's basically how we're going to do this. I'm going to try and build a few decks with the new cards here, and we'll just see where that takes us. So something I'm really interested in building around here is the card Goldspan Dragon. So I'm just going to search that up here. I think that's the best card from the new set. It has a lot of things going on for it. Interesting. There's also Leyline Tyrant as a dragon in the format. So, yeah, Goldspan Dragon, I mean, you've probably heard all sorts of content creators talk about this. The thing that makes this so good is that it plays a lot like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Like, it's a 5-mana spell, but if you have a 2-mana instant, like it basically gives you that discount, so it's essentially a 3-mana spell. And it's basically the way it works with protection spells is quite disgusting. If you play this and the opponent goes like Heart Attack to try and kill it, you get the treasure in response to the removal spell, and then you can sacrifice the treasure and cast your counter spell, like your Negate or Lofty Denial is something I've considered, or like Snakeskin Veil in response to protect your dragon. Especially like Snakeskin Veil is especially disgusting because then you get another treasure then. Ugh, that's really gross. Yeah, anything that targets it to give it protection is actually like just nasty. And yeah, and if they obviously don't kill it right away, if they just have like a Doom Scar or something, then you get to attack and get your treasure, and then you can negate their Doom Scar. Doom Scar being the new sweeper. So yeah, it's quite good. The question is like, where does it fit? I think you just put it in Gruul. We could try, and I'm gonna build Gruul after this, like how I think it would look, because it has gotten new tools and a bit of a higher curve potentially. Also works really well with Embercleave, for instance. Like you can just use the 2 mana to just attack with this and 3 other creatures, and you can just cast Embercleave off the colors. Seems pretty good. It's very good with like basically anything that lets you spend the mana here. Also, I think you don't even have to do that for the card to be good. You can also be good in other scenarios. What I really want to combine it with here is like a bunch of ramp engines, and then trying to play that and Corvold in the same deck, because treasures work super well with Corvold, like incredibly well. You just get to draw a bunch of cards that way, and there is something to be said for these dragons together. And actually also the Immerstone Predator goes quite well with this too, like being another sacrifice thing for Corvold. Just being like a dragon you curve into the Goldspan Dragon, just to have like a lot of flyers. I think it's got a lot of things going for it that it might be worth building around this. Oh, there's also Gadrak. That's a dragon that makes treasures, right? Beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. So it counts both yours and your opponent's. Okay. Huh. Very interesting. I wonder if we can do something with that. So here you basically get a bit of insight into my process. I would not spend this much time, like just, the time I just spent like explaining the cards, because I already had this idea of like combining these cards already. It's actually based on a deck list I saw. So I'll flesh out like the deck list as I saw it in my mind. Is this Mythic? Yeah, okay. Thank God. I mean, I would love for it not to be Mythic, but it definitely makes sense that it is. But actually, I'll put a couple Gadraks in the sideboard. That's interesting. It's also like there's this opportunistic dragon. What does that do? Choose target human or artifact an opponent controls. So, oh, it loses all abilities and can't attack a block. Okay, so you can't steal the Great Henge and just like, take their henge. this, because I was like, why does this card not see play? But there's a reason. There's obviously Terror of the Peaks. Not that much else dragon-wise. Not any payoff for playing a bunch of dragons. So another card I actually want in my deck is this one, Master. Or Magda, Brazen whatever. Former artifacts has hexproof. And it's also interesting with the treasure theme. There is obviously the Leyline Tyrant. I guess you could like pile up like a bunch of treasures and then just make a bunch of red mana and then you sacrifice it to the predator and dome them. That seems kind of unnecessary. So there's also this card which that's actually a tribal payoff for dragons, but I don't think this card is very good. The reason is that so it pays you off in the fact that it gets easier to activate its boost ability once you have a bunch of dragons. The thing is, let's say you have like 2 dragons. That's like where the payoff is quite good. Like then you only pay 3 mana for 5/5. You still have to attack with your 2-drop. A 2-drop that doesn't really go with the dragons. It doesn't help play these dragons earlier, and it does not go well with the plan. It's not a removal spell that helps pave the way. Usually you want to pay these dragons with like either mana ramp or removal spells, so you can control the game a bit and then try and finish the game in the air. But just playing like a 2/2 first strike does not really accomplish anything. It's I guess semi-good on defense. And then once you already have a couple dragons in play, you can attack and make a dragon for cheaper. But at that point, if you already have a couple dragons in play, you're just winning anyway. It doesn't really pay off in a meaningful way, I don't think. That actually matters for the strategy. So I don't think that's what we're looking for. No, see, the reason I don't want Magda in my deck is that I think it's so great with this card, and I do not remember the name of it, so I'll just search Elf Rogue. Jaspera Sentinel. So this one, you can tap a creature it's basically loaned, right? Tap a creature you control to add 1 mana, but with Magda, you add a mana and you get a treasure. So these two combined will just give you 6 mana on turn 3, which is quite nuts. And I would also like Gilded Goose in this deck, because that also works pretty well in like a Kobold Shell. And it's something you can play off of this. Like if you go like Sentinel into Magda, you have like a mana left over. You also have 2 mana if you want that. I think I want Cobra in this deck too. Maybe that's too much ramp, and maybe the ramp doesn't interact in a way that makes sense. But like all these seemingly bad creatures can then feed the Emo Storm Predator is kind of my thought process here. Alright, so what else do we want? I think we want Bone Crusher Giant just because it's nuts. And I think we want Snakeskin Veil. And then maybe we want... I kind of want to put a Crown War in here, actually. Because it works well with the 2 sacrifice outlet dragons, especially with Kobold. It's so great with Kobold. Because you play the Crown War, still a thing. Then you play Kobold, sacrifice their creature, draw a card. Next turn, the Crown War will sacrifice itself, because it runs out of counters, and then you draw another card off Kobold. Which is quite incredible. It has not loaded the artwork on Snakeskin Veil. This card is really good at protecting the dragon, the Goldspan Dragon. But also pretty good with Kobold, especially if you have a bunch of treasures lying around. Getting to protect Kobold is a big deal. So I think that is something. We still have some slots left. I think those should just be removal spells. Or potentially a Crown War. The thing about a Crown War though, it matches really poorly against... hold on. Is it Vorinclex or Vorinclex? It is Vorinclex, right? Okay, I'm not going mad. So I heard 2 different podcasts, both the Arena Decklist with like Jerry Thompson and the Bass Bros podcast with Brian Doane, Brad Nelson, and Corey Baumeister. And like all of these, and Brian Gottlieb on the Arena Decklist podcast, all 5 of these people pronounced it Vorinclex. And I was like, wait, am I wrong? Because I mentally always corrected them in my mind. But No, I was. It was in fact the children who were wrong. This card could also go in a deck like this potentially, but I don't really think we need it. We have like a lot of big end here. I guess it's kind of an issue if you don't draw any of these 11 cards. So maybe I should have something that helps me draw that. I could also have the Gadrax. Sort of interesting. They're kind of good with the Goose. I guess I'm like in for trying them. You could just have like Heartless Act. Yeah, and then just like the Acroan Wars on the sideboard. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Heartless Act does make sense. It seems like a very good removal spell right now, so I like that. Also, Corval gets to dodge Heartless Act is a big deal. And then like, you have your thing, you get to play off your Goldspan Dragon. Maybe this is not enough lands, honestly. Because it's probably fine. But Gadrak might not be what you need. It just seems good with the Predator, but it doesn't. It's not that easy to make creatures die. Kind of a number with Snakeskin Veil. But it does make Treasures, and like Treasure is very good with Magda. Too. Like I was looking for other ways to make Treasure. Obviously, like they're great with Goldspan Dragon too. So I don't know. I think there might be something there. Let's see what else we can do to make treasure tokens. What's this one? It's not really on color. Seize the spoils. Create a treasure token. So it's just like 3 mana Dominion Voice, but you get to make 1 treasure, which is like fine. Dominion Voice is a standard playable card, and so this one should also be playable. Because you just like you pay an extra mana, but you just get that 1 right back. So you can't play this turn 2. But otherwise, it's after turn 2, it's strictly better than Dominion Voice because you can either spend the mana right away again. You can use it for fixing, or you can use it to ramp. So. I think there's the Vault Robber, yeah. I have not seen this one. Crew 2, and then Sacrifice. Wait, so it's 5/1 Trample. Yeah, I have not seen this card at all. How come I haven't noticed it? Is it even in the set? 390. Yeah, I think it's not in the set. Yeah, I'll do it. It must be in one of the like, Planeswalker decks or something, like extra decks. Because it doesn't seem like a card I've seen before. The thing is that it could actually be playable, right? 3 mana, 5/1 Trample, sacrifice 2 treasures, return it from your graveyard to your hand. Huh. I don't know. This is really good with Magda, right? Like, that's a big combo. It's kind of funny. Interesting that it isn't, is that? But then, because you could use the Magda to crew this, and then you get your treasures. Obviously, we're not using the other doors you control get plus ability on Magda. Maybe we could do something with that. Oh, also notably on Jund, it gets 2 dual lands, so it's a lot better positioned now. We definitely want 4 Fable Passage. We have Lotus Cobra and Corvold, so that's in there already. We don't have a Tryon, but I'm not even sure we would want one because we just have all these 1 mana things. Okay, hold on. Seer Step pathway is... Yeah, that's the one we want. I guess it's Blight Step pathway. Yeah, it's the black one. And we got the Timber Crown. Which is the Crack Ground pathway. Okay, and then we got the... Is it Bark Channel? Oh, that's the blue-green one. Dark Boar, so it must be the... Yeah. Alright, so it looks like we have no green lands added, but we actually have 2 already. Because I want 14 green sources. We have like a lot of green 1-drops here. So maybe we can't actually get to that point, because that means adding 6 forests. That can work. Fabled Passage. We could do 5 forest, because we need 2 mountain. And then we definitely only need 1 swamp. Then we get no cool lands. This might actually be a deck for turn timber. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Swamp, mountain. So we could run like a couple of those, maybe. Can't imagine this deck is like 25 lands. It has like a lot of mana ramp, which are kind of dead cards. But 24 lands might also be too few. Who knows? Maybe the Gadrak is like not. Maybe just one Gadrak. Add like another Heartless Act. Could also have the the 4 mana aura. Honestly, I feel like there should just be another Cobalt in this deck. Because the way I see this play out, I think I just want to draw it like all the time. It is legendary though. But it's like the way that I make all my insignificant cards matter. So if I just have Cobalt, so I can just, especially with the Emo Predator, I can just sacrifice the other stuff. It makes, you know, all the treasure makers, like the Kill the Goose, just like cantrip. That part seems pretty good to me. And then if I could go to 25 lands, I would love that. We might not necessarily need. I think I'm just gonna start it here. Let's see where it goes. I could say I remove a Heartless Act and a Gadrak for Cobalt and another land, like another turn timber symbiosis. I could see a scenario where we don't run 4 copies of this card, because we don't have that much black. And these fix for black, and the Cobra does too. Our mana is pretty good as long as we can get green. Yeah, honestly, I think it makes sense to just do this. And I wouldn't mind maybe cutting another one for like a Shadow Skull Smashing, maybe. Because Shadow Skull Smashing is very good. And it's going to be quite good in this deck too. It's quite good with Goldspan Dragon. But the way we build our mana base right now, we don't support it that well, so... I don't think we can cut any of our untapped green sources for it. And we still have... We have so much black mana still. I think we can do that. We might not even run any of these, honestly. This is the black-red one, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think actually I'm just gonna go with 0 of those. Maybe that's too greedy. But we still have 9 sources in the lands. And then we have like 12 sources. Plus like Magda also makes treasures, which is top for it. I think it's gonna be quite trivial to actually get black mana. And this then makes me want to go +1 land. Can we just play 4 Shadow Skull Smashing? It's too many, maybe? Yeah, maybe that's too many. But I'm a bit worried about my Heartless Acts here. Or maybe it's just too many. But I don't know. This seems like a pretty good place to start. Maybe we'll have another one of those. Oh, I only have 2 in my collection. Okay. maybe we'll figure out that we need fewer of these RAM stuff. That what often happens. The issue is that the more we cut of these RAM stuff, the worse the Sentinels get, so we kind of have to cut Sentinels, which I think is kind of sad, because it's very good with Magda. It does also become dead quite quickly. Anyway, I think it looks something like this. So we should maybe also build a sideboard, but that's kind of whatever. You put some Oxys in there for sure. You put some Duresses, I guess. Yeah. Duress for the control decks. Maybe put some Questing Beast in there, or like Ravinclas. Ravinclax against the Sagas is really good. So speaking of Ravinclax, let's add deck. So I still think we are on the Innkeeper planning rule. I still think that's good enough, but I could see that that's not the case. So one thing that's really important to during Spawner season is that you cannot forget the decks that already exist in the format, because that's really going to be the litmus test. And when you try and build like a gauntlet for you to test your brews against, like don't test them against other untested brews. Just try and like maybe update some of the existing decks, but don't go too crazy either. This is maybe going a bit too far, the thing I'm going to do now. Because what I'm thinking is that you can run Goldspan Dragon and Ravinclax in Gruul, and then you can run Lotus Cobra. It's a card I've seen people wanting to run in Gruul before, but the issue is that your curve is not quite high enough to actually can continually spend that mana. But I think that changes a bit now, with Goldspan Dragon and Ravinclax being like very high impact big things you can play. And then you just don't run the Ooze. I don't think that's worth running anymore. You probably still run the Henge, honestly. Like Henge and Mammoth just seem too good not to run. I think Goldspan Dragon with Embercleave is just so good that I don't think you can get away from that. There is also this Battle Mammoth here, but it kind of suffers. Like it's whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell ability, you may draw a card. It's like 6/5 trample, and it has 4/12 for 4. So you can play this 6/5 on turn 4, but you have to give up your turn 2 to do it, which is not that much of a cost in Standard right now, because like turn 3 onwards is really the big thing. So yeah, maybe this is good. It's any permanent, but there's not much like ping style abilities in the format. So yeah, we will. We'll see how that plays out, but I don't think it really goes in here. I think I play like 3 Embercleaves. Oh wait, this deck is filling up right now. Okay, we just add 4 Brushfire and call it a day. Seems wild to me if that would be the case. 22 lands. Yeah, that doesn't cut it, right? Because we want 4 Shadow Skulls still. Okay. Maybe we're not that interested in Innkeeper anymore. Because that's the card I've wanted to cut from the deck for a while, but it hasn't quite made sense to do that. Definitely run Fable Passage. Running Welding Balls doesn't, like, I know we added Lotus Cobra, which is another landfall card, so like Evolving Wilds should trigger it more, but Evolving Wilds is not better than an untapped land for the purpose of Cobra, unless you have multiples, which is not really what we're planning to do here. Maybe we don't play all the Cobras. I don't know. It's really good with like the whole Goldspot Dragon Embercleave thing, because it's a thing that ramps out the dragon without without tapping like a mana dog would, so you can still attack with it. I think that's quite important. So you can go like tap land turn 1, turn 2 Cobra, turn 3 like make a human token and a 5/5, and then turn 4 you play your untap land, you play dragon, attack with all 4 creatures and have Embercleave up on the Nostruck Beast, and they like pretty much die to that. Not quite. If you can block like your Cobra and your 1/1, they go to 4 life. It's also target of a spell, not ability, right? So this one against the sagas like Elspeth Conquers Death, or the new one, Binding of the Well Tree, I think it's called. It doesn't make it worse. But then Warinclus gets and punishes those. So the thing I keep talking about with Warinclus and sagas is that this one says, like, I'm not really interested in the first part of it. Yeah, it's good with Henge, but it's kind of a minor thing. It's more the other thing. If an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half that many of each of those counters on the player or permanent instead, rounded down. So you have all the counters that they put on their things. That means when they play a Planeswalker, comes into play with half the number of counters on it, rounded down. So Vivienne comes into play with 1 counter on it, which maybe doesn't matter that much, but it's going to be very easy to kill. It can't even like +1 to make it blocker and then -2 without dying the next turn. It's quite important. Also, funnily enough, the tokens that Vivienne makes will not get any abilities, but that doesn't matter much. But most importantly, against sagas just get completely turned off, because they get 1 counter at a time, and half of 1 counter rounded down is 0. And the way sagas work is that their abilities trigger when they get the counter. So if they don't get the counter, they don't trigger. So you'll just have a saga that just sits there forever, doesn't get counter, so it doesn't get buried, because you need to go to chapter 3 in order to get buried, or whatever the last chapter is on that particular saga, usually 3. And that also counts when they play it. So they can't, like, Elspeth Conqueror's Death does not answer this card, and neither does the Binding of the World Tree, or whatever else you might want to answer it with. And I think the fact that it interacts so well with sagas, which seem to be a pretty important card type in Standard, makes me quite interested in playing Warinclus. So, but yeah, anyhow, normally you would be able to add, how many basics is it? It's more than you have right now, at least. Like, here we have 18 lands plus 8. Normally you had 22 lands in the deck. Let's see, but then we cut down to like 20. So we just need to make room for like 2 more cards. So maybe the answer here is that we just cut Warinclus. Maybe the answer is that we just go down to 2 Cobras. But I don't think I want to run fewer lands if I run Cobra. I actually want to run more than 20 lands here. Probably want to run 22. I think I need to cut 4 cards. You could cut like 2 Warinclus, 2 Cobra. That's not the worst. Because, I mean, I did just retalk this one, but I'm not quite sure. There's also like Questing Beast. Still like a big question mark here. But it does work well in a Cobra shell, because you can ramp into it. Yeah, I mean, what I really want to cut is just cut all the Innkeepers here. Okay, done. It is done. We can always add them back. Okay, so we just need some number of forests here. Maybe this is dangerous, like cutting all the Innkeepers, because they're quite good in some matchups. We do like this. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Or we could play like a temple. Because when you have Cobra out, it doesn't matter if the land is... Oh, it does actually matter. Because it doesn't ramp you then. Yeah, let's just not run a temple. Let's just be clean here. Alright, I'm just gonna build the sideboard to be like fairly similar to what Rule was before. Quantity 0. So we put like 4 Oxes in the sideboard. Or at least 3. Vivian. A couple copies of those. Fire Prophecy. Like Souls here. I don't know if there's any of the new cards that fit into the sideboard here. We have a few slots. Shieldbreaker maybe goes in. No, actually not, it's gonna be Wilt. Yeah, we have like 2 copies of Wilt. And then normally you also have some Macron Wars, but I'm not sure that's what you want to do anymore. I'll add a couple, maybe. Like maybe this is how I would build my sideboard now, without any new cards, but I wonder if there is any that actually goes in here. If you say set, let's Kaldheim, color red green. We'll just see if there's anything that's like worth adding to the sideboard real quick. Okay, hold on. What does this card do in the deck? It's 3 mana 3/3 haste. It's pretty good. And then changes to is 1 plus the greatest power amount on other creatures you control. Only costs you 1 mana. So it's quite easy to have this be like a 6 power attacker. Yeah, it's not the worst. It's not the worst. I'm not really sure it fits because we already have like a really strong setup of 3-drops. Maybe in mono red, but they also have really good 3-drops. So maybe it just doesn't really fit. The Squash. Only 1 giant. I can't imagine that's worth it. Annie slays the troll. Oh, okay, I have to look at this. Target creature fights target creature don't control. Add red. Put 2 +1% counter on target creature you control. Gain life. Yeah, that's not great. We could put the Veil in the sideboard. Actually, yeah, just put a couple of Veils in there. Oh, the counter succession is also not in the set, but it's in the extra cards. Fire Giant's Fury. So what does this do? Target giant gets +2/+2 against trample. When it deals combat damage to a player this turn, exile many cards from the top of your library. Until then, you may play those cards. Interesting. Another creature name. I'm pretty sure that all of these cards are down here because they're not actually in Kaldheim, but they're in the extra set. Whenever another creature named Glade Water Ritual is enters battlefield, you control, draw a card. Oh, so the first one is just a 3/3 for free. The second one draws 1 card. The third one draws 2 cards if you have both in play already. And then the last one, those 3 cards. Yeah. Not amazing. Oh, this is also not in the set. That makes a ton of sense, because I thought it was. Okay, instant create a 1/1 green elf creature token for each elf you control. That's actually like relevant. Whenever Swordland Flinger attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power. So when it attacks, you fling something. And if it's a giant, then you deal twice that much. Okay. Sure thing. I guess we have like a lot of basic lands in this deck, so we could potentially just make all of these snow and turn the fire prophecies into frostbites. That might be worth doing. I could see that. But as of now, we're just gonna keep it like this. Okay, so one deck that really wants to have snow stuff would be mono green. So that's add deck. But I'm talking about Snowstormy here. So this is actually based on a list from Arilax. Wrote an article about it. So what we doing? Maybe we played Yorn actually. I guess not. I also someone put Seeker's Chariot in a Venota deck, which seems quite interesting to me. Because like Venota exactly crews this, and then that creates 3 attackers for Venota. It's quite good here. No, so the thing that Arilax pointed out was Blessing of Frost is actually great. So if you spend 4 snow mana on this, so you just have all your lands with snow. You spend 4 mana on this, it creates 4 +1/+1 counters distributed among any number of creatures you control. And it does not target, so you can, like, if that removal spell, you just get to, like, change your plans. And you draw a card for each creature you control power 4 or greater. So it's quite often gonna be like, if you can make your thing survive, just like put 2 counters on my 2-drop and 2 counters on my 3-drop and draw 2 cards. Something like that. They can be quite strong. So I think there is merit to just having a bunch of these. And he also talked about how this is actually a great removal spell. Like just 1 mana, give +1/+0 to a creature, and it gets indestructible, and they fight something. And it's still indestructible when it attacks then. It's not sitting here, so just gets to clear the way for a bunch of things. I don't think Boreal Outrider is worth it, because it doesn't work on itself, right? No. Yeah, I don't think that's where you want to be. I do think In Search of Greatness is not very good. The thing about it is that it does not trigger off itself. So you don't get to put a 3-drop into play for free, so you have to wait until like turn 4 to get value. And yeah, I don't really think that's where we want to be. Anyway, we do definitely want these Old Growth Trolls in our mono green deck. We definitely want some Snakeskin Veils in the sideboard potentially. And a bunch of Toskies. If not just main deck. We're busy doing a bunch of like non-Tosky stuff, so. Oh, something to look out for in the other decks I haven't actually thought of is if any of the tap lands actually fit. That's something I didn't think about. gonna check. Not well, so it's like 4 mana, sacrifice it, destroy a land, and make a 4/4. Maybe. Having your green land, like having your red land be the tap 1 is awkward because you can't go this turn 1 and then play like an innkeeper or make a 1/1 token with Lovestruck Beast and play another tap land. For the Gruul deck, I'm not sure that this actually fits. Okay, so we want to add some 1-drops here. Well, we got Stormcoil, I guess. I'm also very interested in Blessing of Frost in like a green-white deck, if you can make that work. With like the counters matters things. Because that seems really good. If you get like the Conclave Mentor in play and you do this, or even just the Ooze, that like puts a counter on anything that has a counter on already. Like, that could just be very good. Sets up some nut scenarios. So the thing that's really cool here is that you get Sir Farron, which works well with these 2 snow spells. And I absolutely love that. So if I just say Snowland. Reveals a bunch of things to me, but the thing I want to get here is this one, the Faceless Haven. So what else do we want here? We definitely want Lovestruck Beast and Mammoth in our deck. Actually, maybe I have too many. Nah, you really don't want to play Mammoth as a land, because when you do, then the Blessing of Frost gets worse. So I'm gonna count the Mammoth as like almost a full spell. Might not even want to play 4 copies. I probably do, because we want to play 3 hunters, so. Okay, so we got so we need more 1-drops. We got the Wildwood Tracker if we want that. Maybe, maybe not. Want more 2-drops? Maybe. We're actually running out of space here. We need a couple of Questing Priests in here. So I just gotta tune the numbers a bit. We maybe don't play 4 Bishop rolls main deck. Just want like 2. Wildwood Tracker is awkward with Sir Farron. We still got the Gem Racer thing, right? What did I combine with? That was Stonecoil Serpent. And Yorvo. Right. That's a good one. Because that's the thing that used to be really good, but just kind of not a thing anymore. So you can wonder if that should still be a thing. I guess not. Doesn't line up that well. In the sideboard you probably want like Wilt and Tormod Script. Vivian. I say Vivian as I just proceed to add no Vivians to my deck. I think Tormod Script is pretty good though against rogues. But maybe that's not gonna be a thing moving forward. Who knows? And let's do this, because I think that's better. Mostly because I added more lands to this list. So I'd rather have the Mana Sake card. Yeah, I mean, there's something here, potentially. I'm not sure if it looks exactly like this. The Old Growth Troll is very good, it seems. Okay, so something I really want to build now, and I think it's going to be my last deck, is going to be... What's that card called? Alright, now it's gonna load a bunch of things. There's so many sagas. Relax also wrote like in his article about how this card is actually pretty good. So you don't really care about like being shapeshifter tribal or anything. It's just like it makes a 2/2 creature. It's all creature types, so it goes in tribal decks if you want to, and then it makes that creature a 4/4. So it's essentially a 3-mana 4/4. And then the last chapter is that each creature with 4 power deals damage equal to the power to a target. So that's really good in a deck that has like, let's say, Bone Crusher Giant and Lovestruck Beast and such, Questing Beast. Because then like even if they get to kill your 4/4, like bounce it with Brazen Borrower, kill it with Bone Crusher Giant is something they can do because it starts out as a 2/2, there's a little window. But other than that, it's a 4/4 for the rest of the game. The token it just makes. But yeah, if you just follow this up with like a Lovestruck Beast or Questing Beast or something, like they still have to kill that. Otherwise, that creature gets to kill something else. So yeah, that's pretty powerful, I think. Like basically just a 3-mana 4/4 that kills something in a lot of cases. It's very good. The thing I was interested in though is a very elf-centric enchantment that I'm not gonna use to do very elf-centric things. Is it this one? Oh, it's a 4-mana card? Okay, I thought it was a 3-mana card. And now I am a lot less excited about this than I were before, honestly. Because now I think my turn 4 deck turned into a turn 5 deck. But okay. I'll figure out a cool name for this. But for now, they just called this. We have too much calls to dead in here. Alright, so what am I trying to do with this? So what does it even say? Mill 3 cards, you may put an elf or tuba card from the graveyard onto the battlefield. Okay. Each player mills 3 cards, exile up to 2, return target creature or land card from the graveyard to your hand. Sure, that's also relevant. Oh, this one also mill 3 cards. So no permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Choose 3 cards in your graveyard. Okay, interesting. That also goes in here. I think that does it. Each player mills 4 cards. Okay, there's a lot of these that just mill yourself in the Soul Colors. That's very interesting. So the thing I want to combo this with I guess there were a lot of things that said something about copy, so I had to load just like a ton of pictures. Okay. I'm talking about this card. Morator of the Frost. So it's a changeling, which means it is an elf, so you can return it with Herald Unites the Elves. It covers any permanent, including sagas. But it is legendary. And it also, if it's a creature, yeah, whatever. Basically, if you have 2 copies of this in the graveyard, if you just milled yourself to have 2 copies of that in the graveyard, you play Herald Unites the Elves, you return the Marit, copy the Herald Unites the Elves, mill yourself again, return another Marit, and you just keep doing that so you can keep milling your entire deck. What you can do then is that you either trigger constantly, you either like win with Thassa's Oracle, or you have to have that in hand, or so you have to have 6 mana for the combo to work, or you have to have it in play and then the last Marit just copies the Oracle. Or you have some sort of like constellation thing that just kills them because you get infinite enchantment triggers. So I want to see what we have with constellation in the format. But I think there is one that mills a player when enchantment comes into play, which works super well with the thing we're trying to set up here. Target player mills 2 cards. Yeah, this is the one, because this is going to mill out the opponent. I just want to see what else we have. That doesn't really work. Let's fly. Top 3. Gain 2 life. We can gain infinite life, but then we just die because we don't have any cards in our deck. I guess you can also continue this combo until you have like, 3 cards left in your deck. And then draw a card and play Oracle, if that's what you want to do. Okay, I guess you could make this infinitely large, but it's not that great. I do want to, so I guess this is a win con. And 2 red Call to Dead is the best way to mill ourselves. So I want to see if there's any else here that actually does something. There is Cobra's Faithful, I guess, but that's not really what I want. I mostly want, because I don't find Sagas, I mostly want something that can find my Herald Unites the Elves, because it is mostly like a one card combo. I just need to find this one. But obviously that doesn't really matter if I already have this one. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't put too much stock in this. Like, maybe this is just what it is on the surface here. Like, it's just a combo piece, but you don't do anything else with it. I think that's probably fine. Like, if I say Elf and Enchantment, then that's only gonna give me those 2. Okay, hold on. What can we have of things that actually find me what I need here? There is Metamized Prophecy. Which does scry and draw 2. Just seems worse than Omen, honestly. Man, we're not very good at finding it. Wait, okay, this is just Lurk Enchantment. Yeah, we have Titan's Nest, which maybe matters. I guess you can get like a ton of mana that way, but that you can't really use that for much, so I don't think that matters. Oh wait, this card is not in here. I'm also not sure that the 3 Seasons is going in here. Like, this could easily be the Blue Omen, maybe. And like, this one is probably not great either. Until I'm sorry, you may cast spells from among cards exiled. Spend mana to mana of any color to cast those spells. But it only exiles creature planeswalkers. So you can't exile the Herald Unites the Elves and cast that. So that's awkward. But you can find your Sage of Mysteries. What I want is like something to dig for my enchantment. There is a Delic Tutor, but I don't think we're quite ready to go the full 4 colors. Though if you do something else with the setup, we don't necessarily need to be blue for the combo, because we don't need to actually cast this card. It's just nice to be able to. There's Arcanist Owl. Again, that's like very... yeah, that's not going to be that easy. Commune with the Gods is the card I want. That would be incredible for this deck. And yeah, this again just hits lands. This is an enchantment and can find permanents, but yeah, not at the rate we really wanted to. This one is very interesting, by the way, with Kinnan and such. and Magda. Like that's a very scary combination of cards. Yeah, I mean we have Idyllic Tutor that like can find the enchantment. So that's, I think, gonna be the biggest issue, is finding Herald Unites the Elves. Because I don't think it's gonna be an issue to put 2 copies of this in the graveyard. I don't think it's gonna be that much of an issue to have an Oracle or a Sage of Mysteries to win the game. I think it's gonna be a huge issue to actually find the thing you're looking for. I'm not sure we need all of these. Oh, interesting that these are wizards, by the way. I wonder if they can do anything. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to make this work. I do think we want Omen. So what I really want to emphasize is, I guess we have, if we mill ourselves a lot, we actually do have Balaket Recovery to get back the Herald Unites the Elves. I want to see if there's anything that's, or actually, let me just search enchantment. And we're in the Salt Side colors, so let's just do that. We just see what is here and what matters. So this is the one that exchanges control, okay. We do have like a good removal spell here that can go into the sideboard, find the monster. Maybe it even goes into the main deck, honestly. That's at least something. Oh yeah, having ways to discard, like having ways to loot would be very good. So any more raids we draw, we can just put in the graveyard. So something like Rousing Reed, but not that specifically. Teferi's Tutelage does actually do it. But not at a rate that I'm super happy with. But maybe that's just what we gotta work with here. We got Shock Typhoon. Somewhat interesting. Not really, but a little bit. Oh, Thirst for Meaning. Sure. I guess that makes sense. Not sure if that's what we want to do here, but it could. It could be. I'd also like to have like some very cheap enchantments. Maybe to make this work. Like something cheap to trigger my Sage of Mysteries. But not sure if that's too much to ask for. I wonder if the Dryad could be good here. Probably not. Oh, sorry. Willfully Having could be interesting. Oh, wait, hold on. Enigmatic Incantation. Sacrifice not enchantment. If you do, search your library for a creature card. It searches for a creature card. Doesn't search for enchantments. Right. Right. So yeah, this deck might be at that end. That's gonna happen a lot when you sit here in row. You just come up short. Deadweight is another 1-mana removal spell. Yeah, we probably run this card main deck, honestly. Like one of the 1-mana removal spells, because that would work really well with the Sage, just getting to mill yourself a little bit and kill something. Treacherous Blessing does draw you a lot of cards, but doesn't really like Open of the Sea digs just as deep and is cheaper, so it's probably better. Same with Thirst for Meaning. I think Thirst for Meaning is actually just better than the Treacherous Blessing, even though Treacherous Blessing is actually an enchantment itself. I'm not sure. There might be a way to break this here, but I'm not quite seeing it. It's possible I should get away from the Sage of Mysteries approach here. I mean, the biggest issue is just finding the Herald Unites the Elves. Like, it just seems really hard to do consistently. You can maybe try and build this as a Yorion style deck, maybe. Because you do have all these things that are good to blink. Oh wait, is there something like whenever snow permanent enters the battlefield? Probably not. Because the copies are going to be snow, so that they're going to trigger those, but that doesn't work with anything. Wait, there is actually... There's the Acolyte of Affliction. Oh, there's also Mythos of Brockers. What does that do? I mean, I guess it doesn't do that much. Nah, it sets up the combo by itself, right? Okay, Mythos might not be too bad here. Could actually be just like straight up good. Because you can, if you can set up to just like play this turn 4 and return like Herald Unites the Elves and Sage. And like maybe if you already milled those two, you can just like put the Morit in the graveyard. Well, not 5 Mythos, like 3 or something. Maybe that makes sense, but it's still a bit slow. Because you have to take your turn off to do it. But I'm basically like taking off all my turns to set up this combo. And I thought I could do it turn 4, but it's like a turn 5 thing. And it's just, and it's destructible, so that makes me very concerned that it's not going to be good enough. But yeah, this is the one I thought of that could also work here. Because if we do mill ourselves enough, just having anything to return stuff from the graveyard is going to be the same as tutoring. Not the exact same, but oftentimes close enough. So Acolyte of Affliction could also be it, and maybe that's actually better than Mythos. But Mythos just sets it up so beautifully, so not sure about that. I might want to run Wolf Hero Haven in this deck. Maybe. And I might not want to run this card. It seems pretty bad. I do like Biting of the Titans, just like turning one of these. But a lot of the time, these are just going to be like mill 3 and then do nothing. Which might just not be good enough. I do think these cards are pretty good. Like you can also, then you mill over a Mythos of Brockos. And then you can exile that, and then you just play that off the King Nafi's Betrayal and set up your combo for turn 5. It can also, if you're really lucky, be a turn 4 combo, where you go like turn 2 with Thassa's Oracle, or like play a Sage of Mysteries. Yeah, it actually can be a turn 4 combo. You just have to have one of these in play already, and then you play turn 4 Howard Dynasty Elves and have these 2 in the graveyard. So it's not that easy to do, but it can be done. Right, let's see which ways we have to discard. Because I really want to be able to discard any more reds I draw. Nope, nope, nope. Yeah, we're not looking for a card with Kicker. That's not part of our combo. It's only when we cast a Kick spell that we get to draw this card. I don't think I'm playing Teferi's Tutelage as a 3-mana draw 1, discard 1. That's just not what we're about here. There's an Obsessive Stitcher, but that doesn't quite do it either. Liliana does it a little bit. Each player discards a card. That's kind of nice. I do think it's Thirst for Meaning, if I had to guess. This is like the card we want. It's also the Master of Winds, right? Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Nah. I'm not too into it. And there's the Fairy too. Which I guess is the best one of these, because it also like interacts, but it doesn't dig that deep. And it's 4 mana, which is a amount of mana where I kind of want to be already there at my combo. So I think Thirst for Meaning is the best thing to do here. We have a lot of enchantments to discard. So I could just build it like this. No interaction, no nothing, no Willful Haven even. Just some mill enchantments and trying to get there. And yeah, that's probably not going to be good enough, but it's kind of fun to toy around with here. We're basically just a blue-green deck, splashing a few black cards, but not that many, so it's very doable. Yeah. I mean, I can build a quick side, a quick mana base. Oh, Sultai also got two lands here, so that matters a lot. Game Club is the bad one. This is the one we want, and this is the one we want. And then obviously the blue-black one. I don't even know if we want Fabled Passage in this deck, because I kind of have like fear that I'm just gonna mill over my swamp anyway. So I don't really see a reason to do that. And we just, if you play the 3 seasons, which honestly I'm not sure we do, it just doesn't really do much. But it can get us some land drops. I think it looks something like this. Okay, well. yeah, I think that's gonna be the end here of my call. That clocks in about an hour. Very interesting to like try and work out if you can do this in any way. I'm not quite sure. I think the 3 seasons is just out, honestly. But I guess it's kind of nice that you can hit your land drops that way. So you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, maybe there is a Yorion shell here. They at least let you mill like a ton. A ton. And it's potentially that like bind the monster should just be 4 copies main deck. I could definitely see that. Alright. For now, bye and see you next week.